embarking on any recess or extended recess, leave or whatsoever as such is alien to the calendar of judicial officers. The release advised members of the public to disregard the publication, which is said was designed to cause ill will, disaffection and confusion in the state. It warned the author and publishers to retract the publication or be prepared to face legal actions. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it is prepared to conduct the November 8 governorship election in Anambra State. The state resident electoral commissioner, Dr. ENUGU, who made this known during an interactive session with journalists in Awka, said that apart from the governorship election, 2 by-elections would also be conducted in Anambra State. The by-elections are due to the demise of Senator Ifeanyi, who represented Anambra South Senatorial Zone, and the Onitsha North constituency seat in the State House of Assembly occupied by Justice Azoka of the Labour Party, which became vacant following his kidnap and murder by his abductors. Agu, who noted that the 3 elections could not hold on the same day, charged the political parties and their candidates to keep to the electoral rules and start mobilizing, sensitizing their members and organizing their primaries to ensure that INEC will make the elections free, fair, transparent and credible. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) approved a contract worth 10.3 billion naira for various medical products aimed at making healthcare services accessible and affordable for Nigerians. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, disclosed this while briefing State House correspondents after the 4th FEC meeting of the year. The minister said the first contract, worth 997 million naira, is for the procurement of third-line antiretroviral drugs for those who are HIV infected, while the second is for procurement of locally manufactured diagnostic kits for diabetes. Pate, who said the president had previously indicated the need to have a medical relief program to lower the cost of medical commodities, disclosed that 4.5 billion naira will be used to procure antibiotics, antihypertensive and anti-diabetic medications beyond the test kits, which will be distributed to help lower costs.
Diabetes is a major issue in our country. It's among the fastest growing segment. We have lots of our population suffering from diabetes, and some are not even aware they have diabetes. In addition, we're having a local company for the first time, one of the first in the continent, who will manufacture these diagnostic test kits in Nigeria. This is a company based out in Lagos, which we had commissioned. It's a private company, but it's manufacturing here in Nigeria. So government is procuring the diagnostic kits, the on-point blood glucose monitoring system that is manufactured here in Nigeria. This is bringing to life the effort to unlock the healthcare value chain by encouraging local manufacturers. So federal government is procuring 2 billion naira worth of those diagnostic kits out of this total amount that I had mentioned.
The minister stated that the second approval of 2.1 billion naira is for the procurement of a mobile X-ray machine, the rehabilitation and equipping of a 64-slide CT scan at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, Bauchi. Up ahead, Ministry of Interior begins public hearing on alleged corruption in Nigerian Correctional Service. FCCPC sues multi-choice over subscription price hike. Details of this and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
An independent investigative panel of the Ministry of Interior has commenced a 2-week public hearing on allegations of corruption, abuse of power, torture and inhumane treatment within the Nigerian Correctional Service. Chairperson of the panel and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalena Ajani, said the objective of the hearing is to thoroughly investigate the allegations, identify systemic failures, and recommend immediate and long-term reforms to prevent future violations. Correspondent Chimezie Nzedi covered the event for Signature TV.
On the second day of the public hearing, Dr. Magdalene Ajani said that the Ministry of Interior was committed to addressing the pressing challenges confronting the Nigerian Correctional Service, particularly those affecting judicial sector and related agencies.
Today we are addressing the justice system within the Correctional Service. We have listened to the challenges the Correctional Service has in implementing the Act. Magistrates and justice claiming that some section of the Act is not known to them are the challenges that the Correctional Service is dealing with.
Highlighting some of these challenges, Assistant Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Ibrahim Idris, pointed out several critical issues, including the judiciary's ignorance of Section 12, subsection 4 to 12 of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act of 2019. Severe overcrowding in correctional facilities, as over 70% of inmates await trial. The difficulty of managing inmates awaiting trial and the use of outdated technologies in correctional centers.
As we speak today, almost 70% are awaiting trial. On Section 12, Sub 4, it is extremely difficult for correctional officers to disobey court's orders. But many officers have attempted to write these letters. In most cases, we have been told that some of them said they are not even aware of the act.
Assistant Controller General Ibrahim Idris drew attention to the ongoing struggle to engage inmates awaiting trial in vocational activities, which are meant to aid in their rehabilitation. However, panel member Dr. ENUGU suggested that correctional officers adopt innovative strategies to encourage inmates to participate in such programs, given that the judicial system's delays significantly contribute to the prolonged detention.
That are on death row, and plus the awaiting trial themselves that you cannot administer training programs on them, neither schooling or handicrafts. You can't do anything to these people. If you say, oh yeah, let's go to the workshop, they will tell you, I cannot go because I will be bailed in the next 5 minutes. So we are handicapped by this.
Somebody can come into correctional service today. Of course, he's hoping to go tomorrow. But there is a way you will let him know that even if he's going tomorrow, there is something he can benefit by joining a class to do.
Addressing the issue of prolonged pre-trial detention, Assistant Controller General CD Lakitile proposed a legislative reform that would set a maximum time frame from inmates awaiting trial. He suggested that if the courts fail to act within the stipulated period, the Controller General should be granted the authority to discharge affected inmates. This, he argued, would pressure both the Nigerian police and the judiciary to fulfill their responsibilities more effectively.
Legislating on a limited time of stay as awaiting trial, and probably giving the Nigerian Correctional Service or the Controller General that power, vesting that power in him, that if within this period, for that period, this matter is not determined, the service should have the power to discharge the inmate.
So please let's do what the law empowers us to do. They don't know the act, as you are sending me notification. What's the act? You can attach a copy of it. And they are the learned people, so they definitely have access to these things. So we should stop hiding under them.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Prison Fellowship of Nigeria, Dr. Jacob Sado, in his keynote address emphasized that although the Nigerian Correctional Service Act is a revolutionary framework, its effectiveness is hampered by a lack of awareness and synergy among various arms of the criminal justice system.
The Nigerian Correctional Service Act is a revolution, but how much do other members of the criminal justice system, the police, the judiciary, prosecutors, even the defense, how much do they share in this philosophy? How much are they aware of this?
As the investigative panel continues its hearing, stakeholders remain hopeful that the findings and recommendations will lead to meaningful reforms within Nigeria's correctional system. In Abuja, Chimize Izadima for Signature TV.
The federal government has pledged its commitment to implementing the end-of-life vehicle (ELV) regulation aimed at protecting the environment and transform waste into economic opportunities. Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment John Eno made this known at a stakeholders engagement organized by the National Automotive Design and Development Council (NADDC) in Lagos, stated that Nigeria has the potential to develop a multi-billion-dollar industry from waste, creating a vast and valuable economic chain. He praised NADDC Director General Joseph Osanipi for his dedication to advancing Nigeria's automotive industry. Osanipi expressed appreciation for stakeholders' support in making ELV a reality, saying the implementation of the ELV regulation would create jobs and wealth for at least 40,000 Nigerians. The federal government says it will increase regulation standards to ensure a safer aviation ecosystem. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, made this known in Abuja when he received the final report of the Ministerial Task Force on Illegal Private Charter Operations and Related Matters. Keyamo, who noted that the illegal practices by private airlines had been ongoing for many years before he assumed office, said time had come to confront it headlong. This, he said, informed the information of the task force, which comprised experienced professionals in June 2024.
Illegal operations by private jets, private aircrafts in the country, especially those who obtain licenses under the PNCF and then use the aircrafts to do other illegal transactions. This practice has been on for many years before I became minister, but I thought there was a need to confront it headlong, because I came to office and everybody told me that it was an intractable problem. That was a problem I could not tackle at all, that I should just let it go. They said I should let it go because principally it was difficult to regulate it, that is one. But secondly and most importantly, that those involved are the untouchables in society. But my background, both from civil society and as a prosecutor of the EFCC, for more than a decade before I became minister, I was a prosecutor. My duty is to touch the untouchable.
The chairman of the task force, Captain Ado Sanusi, said the investigation various challenges, including regulatory weakness, loopholes for the non-commercial flight system, inadequate oversight, security vulnerability, and significant revenue loss to the federal government of Nigeria.
We have identified critical challenges, including regulatory weaknesses, loopholes in the permit for non-commercial flight systems, inadequate oversight, security vulnerabilities, and significant revenue loss to the federal government of Nigeria. We went to the General Aviation Terminal in Abuja, and I would like to say that we have seen well, Akewo has pointed it out, but it is an ISO. 90% of the criminal activities occur in this General Aviation Terminal. be it money laundering, be it the drug trafficking, be it the fugitive transfers, all are being conducted in that general aviation terminal.
In Abuja?
In Abuja.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has instituted a legal action against MultiChoice Nigeria Limited and its Chief Executive Officer, John Ugbe, for violating regulatory directives. A statement by the Commission's Director, Corporate Affairs, Ondaje Ijawo in Abuja, said the company was also charged for obstructing an ongoing inquiry in violation of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, FCCPA 2018. The Commission said it had directed MultiChoice Nigeria on February 27 to maintain its pricing structure for DSTV and GoTV pending the conclusion of an examination of its proposed price hike, but that the company proceeded with its price increase on March 1 in clear defense of the Commission's directive. The FCCPC discredited attempt to undermine regulatory authority, disrupt market fairness, and deny consumers the protection afforded under the law. The Commission, however, reiterated its commitment to protect consumers from exploitative business practices and ensure that dominant players in any sector adhere to fair market principles and legal compliance. The debate over wage disparity in Nigeria goes beyond just salaries. It extends to retirement policies and even the cost of political participation, while public servants in different sectors face selective and discriminatory retirement ages. Politicians continue to enjoy high wages and allowances with no such limitations. This has prompted the call by a lawyer and public interest advocate, Madaki Ame, for the National Industrial Court to determine a fair national minimum wage and also a maximum salary for public servants in the country. Chimezi Nzedema reports.
When we talk about public service, we imagine leaders dedicated to the welfare of the people. But what happens when those elected to serve earn salaries that dwarf the income of the average citizen? In Nigeria, the president, as the highest public servant, earns millions, while the lowest paid worker struggles to get by on a fraction of that. This raises a pressing question. Are Nigerian politicians overcompensated for their work? Or is their high pay justified by the demands of their office?
The highest paid Nigerian is the president, because he's the biggest man, in the public service. So if the national minimum wage is 70,000, let's even say that the president's salary is 2 million a month. You get the point? Yeah. So it's an unjust disparity. Very. But then it has to be a drop dead, threshold. Why the president doesn't really have a salary, because all his expenses are taken care of for him. For instance, in the budget of 2024, I think his feeding allowance was 9 billion naira.
The contradiction deepens when we consider the economic realities of the country. While political office holders enjoy unlimited earnings, the government struggles to implement an agreed minimum wage of 70,000 naira for its lowest paid workers. This stark contrast between the earnings of politicians and the plight of the ordinary citizens highlights a system designed to serve the elite at the expense of the masses. If true democracy guarantees the right to vote and be voted for, then setting financial barriers to political participation contradicts this principle. The issue, therefore, is not about high political salaries, but about a system that prioritizes wealth over competence in governance.
In the same APC, the governorship 50 million in that last election. In my poor state of Benue, 11 people bought the governorship ticket for 50 million. That's 550 million Nigerian naira. Over $500 million just to express interest and buy a 2-page or 4-page form to contest for one useless election. Then not to talk of the countless people who run for Senate at 30 million. So that means that teacher in my village who is so popular and will win any election given a fair chance cannot afford the ticket. So INEC must set a uniform standard contest cost, so that anybody who earns that minimum wage of 70,000 should be able to afford the ticket to run for president.
Beyond wages, another critical issue is the selective application of retirement policies. Public servants in various sectors have their retirement ages dictated by the president's discretion. Some seeing extensions while others are left out. What informed these decisions? Is it based on merit, political interest, or something else?
Almost the very week that Tinubu took over this government, he increased the salaries of judges by 300%. What does that tell you? What it says without saying it, is that the judges are not the only people who are poorly paid. We just talk about the professors. The professor in the university, in the public university, earns about 400,000 a month. And everybody will say, okay, the condition of service of the judges, has finally improved. But the deeper meaning is that a judge who is so grateful that he just got a 300% pay rise, will find it difficult to rule in a case against that same government that gave him that kind of jumbo pay rise.
Interestingly, while civil servants must retire at a set age, politicians face no such restrictions. A president can contest for office regardless of age, yet workers in key sectors are forced into retirement. Could this be a strategy to keep power within a select group while limiting opportunities for others?
There's a bigger danger in the exercise of the president's discretion in these matters. All the countries in the world that I know have a national retirement age, which applies uniformly across board. But if you want to keep somebody longer because of the skills the person has, or the fact that there's a shortage of manpower in that particular sector, then you retain the person on contract. And then you pay the person more. But incidentally, the politicians who are setting these retirement ages for other people have no retirement age. A politician can contest election until he drops dead.
As these concerns grow, many argue and fight for a fairer, standardized approach, one that ensures both economic justice and equitable opportunities in public service. In Abuja, Chimeze Izadima for Signature TV.
A three-story building has collapsed in the Lake area of Lagos, with 2 persons reported dead and 6 rescued so far. The Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Olufemi Damilola Oke-Osayintolu, disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday. Oke-Osayintolu, who said the immediate cause of the incident is yet to be ascertained, added that further investigations will be conducted. LASEMA said its response teams have commenced search and rescue operation, and LRT is coordinating other common stakeholders for effective response at the incident of the scene. It added that the agency's heavy-duty equipment excavator was deployed to the incident scene and is still in operation, and light and heavy-duty equipment has been deployed for the search and rescue operation. Christians have been admonished to see themselves as ambassadors of Jesus Christ in their daily lives as a way of making positive impacts on society. A Roman Catholic priest, Reverend Father John Mary Ibe, gave the advice while preaching the sermon at a church service to mark the Ash Wednesday held at St. Joseph Catholic Church, Thinkers Corner, ENUGU, to mark the commencement of this year's period of Lent. Our correspondent Raymond Ken Bata attended the church service and now reports.
Ash Wednesday is a significant holy day in many Christian denominations, including the Catholics, Anglicans, Lutherans, and several other denominations. It marks the first day of Lent, which is a 6-week period of penitence and reflection leading up to Easter. On Ash Wednesday, many Christians attend special church services where they receive ashes on their foreheads, symbolizing repentance and mortality. The ashes are typically made from the palm branches of the previous year's Palm Sunday celebrations, which symbolize the fact that man is dust, and that unto dust he shall return. At St. Joseph Catholic Church, Thinkers Corner, ENUGU, the resident priest, Reverend Father John Mary Ibe, reminded parishioners that the purpose of their creation is to serve God. This, he said, explains why there is a feeling of guilt when one goes astray. Father Ibe enjoined Christians to use this period of Lent to engage in deep introspection and reconcile with God as a sure guarantee for their salvation.
He
He spoke to Signature TV on the significance of Ash Wednesday and other activities leading to Easter. A major highlight of the service was the application of ash on the foreheads of parishioners by the resident priest and sharing of Holy Communion to communicants.
Ash Wednesday reminds us that we are human beings, that we are mortals. It reminds us of our mortality, first of all. It also reminds us of the mourning we should have because we have sinned against God. That we mourn because we have sinned against God. That is what we see the people of Nineveh do. The Ninevites, when God told Jonah to go to them and preach to them, he preached to them, and they repented, and they wore sackcloths and daubed themselves with ashes. And it is a symbol of repentance, a symbol of humility, a symbol of, oh God, I have sinned and I repent, have mercy on me. Thus also ash is also a symbol of penance. Yes, just as I mentioned, the symbol of penance, to tell God, oh, this is me. Without you, I am nothing. So this does remind me that all I have is yours. I tend to live as you want me to live. In other words, I'm asking you, have mercy on me, and then make me yours.
Parishioners also spoke on what was expected of Christians during the Lenten season.
Do now shall live life of charity, prayer. Shall live life of charity, prayer, and abstinence. We shall deal with love is the overall thing in Christian life. So whatever we are doing without love is nothing. We must have love of God and love of our humanity. Every Christian should love one another, no matter how small. Show charity to one another, and this is what gives God gladness.
Apart from marking the commencement of the 40-day period of fasting, it also ushers in a period for deep reflection on past deeds, abstinence from sinful behavior, seeking forgiveness of sins, and renewal of commitment to the faith. This year's Lent is coming few days after the commencement of Ramadan fast for Muslims. I am Raymond Ken Mbata, reporting for Signature TV.
The president of Sierra Leone, Dr. Julius Bell, says he's in Nigeria to reinforce his country's dedication to innovative ideas that will create a world-class food system in Sierra Leone. Bell, who stated this during his visit to the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA headquarters in Ibadan, assured of collaboration between the governments of both countries to tackle challenges in food production and other agriculture-related problems. He said his collaboration with IITA symbolizes the future of agriculture in Africa, where science, technology, and policy work together to achieve sustainable impact at scales.
My trip to Nigeria reinforces our dedication to innovative ideas that aim to create a world-class food system in Sierra Leone, where research drives solutions, technology fosters progress, and investment opens genuine opportunities for our farmers and agribusinesses. I firmly believe that our collaboration with IITA symbolizes the future of African agriculture, where science, technology, and policy work together to achieve sustainable impact at scale.
Oyo State Seyi Makinde emphasized the importance of agriculture in driving economic growth and food security. He said Oyo State has a comparative advantage in agriculture due to its strategic location, climate, and historical synergy with institutions like IITA.
The comparative advantage that Oyo State has over other states in Nigeria is directly related to why IITA is located here. A combination of strategic, climatic, historical, and logistical factors makes Oyo State an ideal location for agricultural research and innovation. Climatically, Oyo State falls into two major agroecological zones, the derived savanna and the Guinea savanna. Here in Ibadan, where the IITA is located, we have the Guinea savanna zone. But Ibadan also serves as a transition belt between the forest and the savanna ecosystem. This makes it an excellent testing ground for research on both tropical and semi-arid crops, allowing scientists to develop solutions applicable to diverse agricultural environments across Africa.
Earlier, IITA's Director General Dr. Simeon Ehui said the presidential visit shows the country's commitment to agriculture and food security and stressed the need to marry science with research institutes to help transform agriculture.
This momentous occasion is not just a visit. It is a reaffirmation of our shared commitment to agricultural transformation, food security, and economic resilience in Africa. Mr. President, your leadership in advancing the Feed Saloon strategy is a bold declaration that food self-sufficiency and food sovereignty is not a dream, but an achievable reality.
Representatives has urged the Nigerian Park Management Service to collaborate with its Cameroonian counterparts to contain rampaging elephants that have been invading farmlands and causing fatalities in Cross River State. This resolution follows a motion of urgent national importance sponsored by Victor Abang, who disclosed that wild elephants have rampaged through villages, killing residents and destroying economic trees and crops worth millions of naira between January 6 and 15 and from February 8 to date. Abang, who expressed concern over the loss of lives and the disruption of economic activities, called on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide immediate relief to affected citizens. In a separate development, a bill seeking to transform Yaba College of Technology into a University of Technology has passed its second reading in the Green Chamber. The bill, sponsored by Fuad Laguda, aims to enhance technology,
breaking down the numbers and investigating the issues behind.
The second wave of nationals from Myanmar, SAM centers via Thailand on Thursday, following a crackdown that began in February and led to the extraction of more than